And good afternoon, Sword Family. Welcome once again to the Teahouse. Oh boy. Hopefully nothing else will go wrong in the next hour because the last 30 minutes have been kind of insane. But we're here now, so right here. You ever have one of those days where everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong at the last possible minute? Yeah, that's what I've been dealing with for the last half an hour. But I'm here. You're here. So let's do this. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the various animal styles in Chinese martial arts. Last week, we talked about Mantis because I have a past, I have a history with Mantis. This week, it's going to be the other animals, or at least the ones that I'm aware of, so to speak. There are many, many more animal styles than even I was aware of when I first started learning Chinese martial arts. Oh, excuse me. Whew. But first, we have quite a few comments to go through first. So yeah, we're going to do that first. How many times can I say first in one sentence? First. And we scroll. Okay, yeah. And first through the door at 1:14 this afternoon is one of my patrons, Dan Hollifield. Good evening, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dan. Were you bored several hours ago? Yes, puppy. Yes. But I really wish you would not be on that side where all of my cables are that you can knock out. Come over here. Come on. Over here. Thank you. Yes, that's much better. Yeah. Take the comment down so people can see the puppy tail. The puppy tail. Yeah. And Foxy is here. Good evening and welcome to the Teahouse. Please like, share, and subscribe. Yes, please. I don't know if this channel would ever actually be monetized. Probably not. I don't have enough followers. I don't have enough comments, but I don't really care. Yes. Dan worked in the yard while he could. Thunderstorm made him take a break. Then the AC caused him to take a nap. Well, yeah. Sounds like a day. Dude, not that side, please. Half day did sleep in the morning. Well, most of us sleep in the morning. And Carl is joining us. Good evening, Foxy and Dan. Good evening, Carl. And greetings for Carl. Slept into like a lazy beggar. I slept until 7 a.m. If that's sleeping in, I sleep in like every single, well, okay, lately it's been more like 6:30, 6:45. But that's kind of my everyday is like 7. Of course, I also don't go to bed until midnight, 1 a.m. And about 6:30, Pup is a very effective alarm clock. Uh-huh. Up so late last night, cats were all tired this morning. Well, wore out the kitties. All upset that Carl didn't go to bed at 9 p.m. I couldn't go to bed at night. The only time I went to bed at like 9 was the week I had COVID. Like, I spent more time in bed for those 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, however many days it were. First, it was 5 years ago. And second, I was asleep for most of that time period. Like, I would get up and take some ibuprofen for the fever. I'd sit in this chair for an hour or two, go back to bed, get up, eat lunch, go back to bed, get up, eat dinner, go back to bed. And that was my life for like a week, week and a half. It was not, no. Most of the time, if I try going to bed before midnight, I will wake up like 2 or 3 hours later and not be able to go back to sleep. So, yeah. Dad will have to remember to put his shirt on before stupid o'clock tonight, or not, you know. I'm sure Donna would enjoy that. Hey, Donna, how you doing? Aw, thank you, Carl. And greetings. And greetings. Not to veer too far from the subject, but how did your hair turn out? Yeah, she came very red now, even still smell. Yeah, that dyed is not the best smell in the world. But and there's Kitty. Hey, kitten. Will Uncle Carl like it? Probably. Add them to the before and after pics we have. Yeah. And greetings for Kitty. And Ruby is joining us. Hello, Ruby. And greetings and greetings. Looking forward to it. Of course, you're cute no matter how your hair is done. This is true. Now, I will be 100% transparent. This is not my favorite haircut that she's had. I think they took too much of it off. And I am looking forward to having at least some of it grow back in. But that's what happens when, you know, you don't control every single aspect of someone else's life. And greetings for Ruby. And there's Midnight over on Twitch being all lonely, all by his lonesome. Hey, buddy. And greeting for me, and greeting for me. And Trey is joining us. Hey, all. Hello, Trey. Glad to see you. And greetings. Looks good. Greeting for Trey. Looks good. Hair is awesome. Sorry, the day itself wasn't bad. Like, up till this, everything has been good. And then, like, 5 o'clock, I don't know. And, like, literally, I just barely got in the studio right before I went live. StreamYard was not loading. And then when it did load, I couldn't get to the email to get the code to get into StreamYard. Then it didn't want to read my camera. Just like everything, just all at once. Yeah. And more greetings from Trey because she's awesome. Silly way to show off. Well, I did it a couple of times when you were having ladies' nights over on what is now Creative to Play. Just come sneak in and just stick your head in the camera. Never have one of those lives. Yeah. Like the way you snuck. Yeah. She's capable of sneaking up on me. It just doesn't happen very often. And it was probably like mostly because I was so frazzled from just trying to get in here. I was honestly concerned I was either going to have to stream from my phone, which is already logged into StreamYard, or just cancel the show and come back next week. Yeah, you just wait. Not bored, but very busy climbing and descending. Oh, you're not supposed to be climbing ladders. If I wake up before 10 a.m., I feel cheated. Well, you know. Used to be like that, yeah. And Johnny is back with us again. Hello. No. I have. I've stayed up the entire night several times in the past, but not recently. Because I have this lovely woman that goes to bed before me. And if she wakes up in the middle of the night and I'm not in bed with her, she will come out here and berate me until I go to bed. The last time was probably a year and a half ago or so. I was playing Skyrim and lost track of time. I didn't realize it was like 3:30 in the morning. And yeah, she came out and yelled at me until I went to bed. Had a meds change and suddenly she's a morning person. Yeah, it was definitely a change. Night is when Dan's brain works fastest, and it's valid. Yeah, the puppy is almost always behind me. He likes to, yeah. And Dawn is joining us. Good evening. Yes, the dog is named Inigo. He's named after Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride. Yes. Did he tell us? No. And more greenings. It just kind of came to us. Like, when I name all my swords, they just kind of... Yes. Inigo is in front. Someone needs to be very worried. Well, yeah. And he'll probably be coming back in here fairly shortly. Yes, this is the second stream. Yes. I remember the first one. Good company, yeah. Educational fun. Well, I hope to be educational most of the time. Sometimes it's just... I have several items on my Google Doc that I keep all my ideas in for Teahouse episodes that aren't exactly educational. They're just rants that I have about various topics when it comes to Chinese martial arts, culture, philosophy. That's about it. And now I'm being a chew toy. But let's get into this. Animal styles in Chinese martial arts. Well, I appreciate that, Trey. Learned a ridiculous amount since I started watching your show and talking to you. I'm glad. And Don has a phone call. That's good. That's good. Say hi to your mom for us. When I first started Chinese martial arts in my early teen years, as I mentioned last time, it was all about Mantis. And then when I took my break after my first Shifu died, I completely set all of that aside. And I let myself mourn a person that I'd only known for maybe a year. It just kind of goes to show you that you don't have to know people for a long time for them to make a big impact on your life, as most of the people in the chat can tell you. They have only been in my life for a very short time, and yet most of them I consider to be my sword family. So it wasn't until I reached high school that I started really deeply researching Chinese martial arts. Thanks in part to an uncle that got me into Bruce Lee movies, and then that led me to the philosophy of Bruce Lee and his. That doesn't happen nearly as often as it did earlier this year. Got me into the philosophy of Bruce and his martial art, Jeet Kune Do. And I found out that animal styles were a lot more than just Mantis. The picture in the thumbnail is a picture I found online. You can actually buy like posters of it, I think, of the main 5 animal styles of Shaolin Kung Fu, or Shaolin Wushu, if you want to be, correct about it. They are dragon, crane, monkey, snake, and tiger. But those are not the only animal styles out there. Not even close. You also have bear and crane and boar and dog and eagle and horse and panther and scorpion and toad and tortoise and wolf. There are so many that sometimes it's honestly overwhelming when you only have a short period of time. When I was doing research in high school, I was taking at least 1, but sometimes 2 or 3 different computer classes. And you'd have to do the work, and then if you got done, you had free time on the computer. So I had a very limited amount of time to do research on any given subject. So I also had, my notebook, and I would just set my notebooks beside the keyboard and take notes And eventually, I would have entire sections of one notebook for just one animal. Hey, Rich. Sorry I missed your stream earlier. I was napping. 6:30 comes early, especially when you go to bed at 1:30. I left you a comment, though. Your mic cut out. Anytime you weren't on front-facing camera, there was no sound. So when you went to the side camera when you were drawing, there was no sound. And when you went to the lap camera, there was still no sound. But when you had front-facing camera, you had sound. So I think your mic, I don't know. It was weird, but good to see you here. I'm glad that you're here. And many more greetings, because Rich is also awesome. Well, I know it was just a test, but I kind of like trying when I can to be present in other people's streams that make a point to be present in mine. If I'm available, if I'm not, if I'm not working, or that's what I thought. The mic was through that camera, yeah. Because it only went off when you picked another camera to, yeah. But the 5 animals of Shaolin each have the animal style itself has their own characteristics. Yes, puppy. Give me a boop. No, give me a boop. Boop. Would you stop licking me when I'm trying to drink? Thank you. Yes, but I really would rather you not knock out any of my cables. Over here on the couch, please. Come on. He is very, very lovey today. He wants to play all the time. Yes, he does. So, dragon style is powerful, it is light, it is quick, it is meant to train your chi and the spirit of the mind. Monkey is ferocious and cunning, and you use it to develop your legs, your leaping strength, and power in your legs. Dude, I cannot play right now. The snake is fast and aware, and the practice builds your chi meridians and the body of chi. Tiger is strong and quick and very direct, and it builds muscle and strengthens the bone marrow. And finally, the crane is stable and light, and it trains your concentration and your accuracy and your evasiveness. Those are just the 5 from Shaolin. And like I said, there's usually or not usually, there's a lot more than just those. I know the pupper. He got so big. Still not too big for, what I would consider an apartment dog. But he's, yeah. Yeah, true. Most places will kick you out for not wearing pants, even though no shirt, no shoes, no service. Wow. That was with so many different styles, how can you identify which style someone is using quickly? Okay. So if you know what you're looking for, you can very quickly identify animal styles based on how they stand, how they move, or the position of their hands. Okay? So, crane, there's going to be a lot of one leg stances. And you're going to see this. This hand right here is crane. This is snake. Snake, the fingers are usually flat. Sometimes you'll have an open snake for a strike. Crane, your fingers are all kind of in one point, like a beak. Tiger is usually claws. Monkey stances are usually low to the ground, and they roll a lot. Dragon, you'll see this one, holding the pearl of knowledge. You get to recognize the different stances, the different hand placements and movements. Snake is very, if you've ever actually seen a snake charmer, you see a lot of this. And the strikes are very quick. Yes, specific moves and stances that can give most of them away. That's true. Now, some of them are not as well known. You have tiger, but you also have panther. You are supposed to be on silent. You evil, evil thing. Shush. And the differences between like tiger and panther are harder than like the difference between panther and monkey. And then you have like bear and boar and deer. Yes, you are loved. Go get your toy. Eagle claw, you're going to have a lot of the same kind of fluid movements that you see in crane, but with more of a claw in the hands. Boop. It's a lot of practice. What are you laughing at? Some of them Some of them can be very subtle. But if you know what you're looking for, like I have been studying Chinese martial arts most of my life. Even if I didn't get started until my early teens and then took time off after first Shifu died, I've been doing this for more than half my life. And a lot of it, I will admit, has been studying Chinese martial arts. I only recently got into studying European martial arts, but I also studied other Asian martial arts like Muay Thai and Kendo and Iaido. And when you've been doing this for almost 30 years, you can spot little telltale signs of the kind of style that someone's using. But as I mentioned last week, that's not always true. Because like I said last week, that fight that I watched from someone who does also practice Mantis, I did not see Mantis in the way he fought. But he did. He was just fighting in a different style of Mantis that I hadn't learned. Used a lot of crane defense when I was with my first wife. Yeah. Crane and snake were featured on Karate Kid. Kind of. The crane technique that Daniel learns in the first movie is actually based on an actual Shaolin martial technique. Now, I didn't even know this when I first watched the movie, but I found out later it's based on an actual Shaolin technique. If you watched the Jackie Chan Karate Kid, when they visit the Wudang Temple, and you have that one monk out on a cliff with a cobra, she's doing snake. That's actual techniques. It's very interesting. Like, I used to watch this show. This kind of sounds like it's off topic, but it's really not. I used to watch this show called Martial Law with Sammo Hung. It's a great show. Only lasted 2 seasons. Really stupid. But it's about a Hong Kong detective who comes to America to look for his sister and ends up staying to be part of the LAPD. And one of the other characters, I don't remember the entire plot line because this was like 30 years ago or so. But one of the other characters ends up in like a cage fight kind of scenario. And he's fighting, and I was able to immediately, just looking at it, say that is Muay Thai. You see a lot of the hands up here and, one leg raised up. That's Muay Thai. So I'm sure that the HEMA people in the audience can say that if you've been studying for an extended period of time, you're able to recognize telltale signs that, oh, this person is using Gigante or Talhofer or Agrippa or, one of the other European martial arts. It's the same thing with Chinese martial arts, animal styles, and other various martial arts. And sometimes it's just a matter of knowing what you're looking for. I'd assume the same way we figure out what master wrote the fight book that other fencers studied. Exactly. Yes. Different styles can have accents. Yes. And it's not entirely just the unarmed martial arts. Like, just based on the way that someone stands or moves with a weapon can tell you a lot about the style they're using. So if you see someone who is using a sword, and instead of being straight on like this, they're kind of side this way, and their feet, instead of being pointed towards you, are pointed kind of this way. That is most likely a Bagua practitioner. Their feet are pointed forward the same directions their body is facing, but they're not facing you. They're getting ready to circle around. Yeah. And there's the puppy. Yes, martial law was, mid to late 90s on CBS. Had martial law, had Kelly Hu in it. I thought it was a good show. I was really disappointed that it only lasted 2 seasons, but 2 seasons is still better than what Black Sash got, which is 7 episodes. No, I'm not bitter. Yeah, Andrew goes, yeah.
He just brought me a rock.
I'm not surprised. It's usually by the door over there. It was a good show. Yeah, Meyer. Episode where someone tried to embarrass him with a throw and he was just taught. Yeah. I think it was the very first episode. But it was one of the early ones where the annoying white cop was making fun of Sammo for saying that he could use anything as a weapon, and that was why he didn't need to carry a gun. And so the guy hands him a chalk eraser and tells him to use that, and he proceeds to use it as a weapon. The guy ended up with chalk eraser marks all over his body and all over his suit. Like, yeah, now what do you think? It was a good show. Like I said, I was really disappointed it only lasted for 2 seasons. How would I recognize Indian martial arts? Okay. Midnight. I will admit that I don't know as much about Indian martial arts as I do Chinese and Japanese and, Thai. But from what I've seen, and I'm sure you can, hey, leave it alone. Leave the rock alone. Sorry. From what I've seen of Indian martial arts, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem to be very fluid and kind of dance-like. So that's probably the first thing I would look for. Dan was training a lot of French fencing techniques with a smattering of Italian. Find Italians to be more about control of the blade for people who aren't young, but more for older. Okay, I can see that. Italian is about flexibility and control. Okay. Brought the rose quartz. Yeah, you could see him back there with his nose underneath that corner right there. We have a rose quartz doorstop. It's kind of a good luck thing. Yes, he was after it again. I could hear him. Spanish fencing is a lot about angles and using geometry. Spanish fencing is a lot like Bagua. It's a lot of circles. That one I've learned a little bit about. No, he's not eating. He also brought her this. This is a piece off of the stand, the glass lotus stand that my Buddha is on back there. He's not eating them. He's just bringing them to her for some reason. Rose quartz is pretty. We also have another one by the front door. Yeah, he didn't eat it, just brought it to her. Yeah, I guess it's probably pretty close to football size. All three are very valuable. Yeah. Love mixing and matching, drives people nuts. When you mix styles, especially if people aren't used to it, it will completely obliterate some people's. Like my personal unarmed style mixes the 7-star mantis that I learned from both Shifus and Bagua footwork. So people tend to kind of go, but wait, that's not mantis steps. What are you doing? Or, okay, that's Bagua steps. What are you doing with your hands? That's not, what are you doing? Stop it. It's kind of fun. German is about cuts, thrusting, and almost considered rude. Well, German, I'm sorry if there's any German people watching, but I studied German in high school for 3 years. Show them the front door one? Okay. I'll be right back. It's like literally 3 steps away. There you go. That one sits by the front door. The other one sits by the patio door. It's pretty hefty. We'll just set it right there on the corner because, yeah, we're supposed to be talking about animal styles and martial arts. Your dog a crow or a penguin? Yeah. Lots of shiny rocks. We were going to go to the rock show today, but we have no money, so we didn't go. Taking him rock hunting with me, yeah. And he will probably bring you every single rock, stone, baseball, golf ball. My name is Inigo. I like shiny rocks. Prepare to rock hound. Yes. Hey, Dave is joining us. Hey, Dave. How you doing? Yeah, she's had that since before she met me. Oh. Fencing thrusting is rare. Okay. Huh. Actually learned a bit more about fencing by practicing with a whip. Huh. Interesting. Okay. That is very interesting. Chunk, of course, was tilled out of a field in North Missouri, and I've had it since then, yeah. Must commend Thesis for continuing the show well, all the various interruptions. My life is various interruptions. And more greetings and more greetings. And it was distracting, but why do you think I didn't bring most of the comments up? So, yes, the differences between the different animal kung fus are sometimes subtle, but if you know what you're looking for, if you know the different hand positions, and yes, I will probably try to remember to go back through after this and wrench various other people so Foxy's not the only one who has to deal with interruptions. Yeah, life is a series of distractions while one tries to do things. You're not wrong. If you're looking at tortoise style or toad, or I shared a video on Facebook, I think a day or two ago, maybe 3 days ago, of scorpion. And it was literally low to the ground with one leg sticking up behind him like a scorpion's tail. It looked ridiculous. But these things have been around for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. There is a set of Qigong exercises based on the 5 animals that have been around since the Han Dynasty, which is, ended in 220 AD. But it's not the same 5 animals as the Shaolin 5 animals. Here, it is tiger, deer, monkey, crane, and bear. So instead of tiger, crane, monkey, snake, and dragon, it's tiger, monkey, crane, bear, and deer. These things obviously work. Now, this is an interesting question because I have yet to find beyond the movies if crab or shrimp are actual animal styles. I'm not saying that they aren't, just I haven't found anything yet. But you watch, the heroes of the East, the crab style was Japanese crab. In the movie that Trey shared with me, the crab and shrimp, I think were meant to be Chinese. So I'm still looking. But yes, we don't know yet. But I am looking. Mantis feels more like something comfortable, but always willing to learn. Yeah. The thing about Mantis, at least the 7-star Mantis that I learned, is, the Mantis hand is for trapping. You don't strike with this. This would mess your fingers and your knuckles up. You can, but it's more of like going after soft targets, eyes, temples, throat. You're going after the underside of the chin, just pop. Yes, we've been looking for historical references. No, you're fine. We've actually been looking into it because I know that a lot of movie fights, there's a bit of background there for the actual fighting. But there's also movie foo. So I don't know. I'm looking, I'm researching. It's interesting to me because something like that, it looks silly. But at the same time, a lot of the things that I do, or that Qi Ji Guang did, or Yu Da Yo did, they probably also looked silly. So, from an outside perspective, yeah, it looks strange. But does that mean that it's wrong or it doesn't exist? No, not at all. Crap job. I'm just saying, keep an eye on my channel. I have plans for crab style. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I have plans. Ooh. Oh, Ruby. Oh. You have to do this with 4 minutes left in the show. Called second position long point in HEMA. Yes, I did. Does it have a name in Chinese martial arts? Ruby? We're going to have to pause that. The short answer is no. Not that I'm aware of. But come back in 2 weeks. Okay? I will do an entire show about this 2 weeks. Just for you. So I didn't have a plan on what to do for the 28th. Now I do. Come back in 2 weeks. Yes, I'm glad you remembered to ask too. Crapped out. Oh, Dave, you didn't see the whole thing. Oh, that is a good question. I love it. Just for Dave. And Trey, because it makes her laugh. Get the chair out of the way. Everybody get up. We're going to do Craps Out. And now here comes the dog. Yep. Now, Dave, I don't know if you were here for that episode. That is based on a old Chinese Kung Fu movie called Heroes of the East. Go look it up, please. It is an awesome movie. And that fight scene with, Foxy, love. They did that to me last week. I think it was last week, or was it this week? I don't remember, but they did that. Fencing, especially college fencing, involved a lot more crouching that older people find quickly tiring, yeah. Spanish involves a lot more gymnastics that we can easily do once we learn it. Totally didn't just do crab style in my living room with a lap. Yes. Yes, please do. Heroes of the East. It is, wow. Yeah, last week, yeah. It was Trey, Joe, Carl. I think Don was in on it. It was interesting, yeah. German involves a lot of saber work, but it's not slashing and not much stabbing. That's kind of what Rich said, yeah. Okay, we are at the hour. Ruby, that is an amazing question. You're going to have to hold out a little bit longer. But short answer is not that I'm aware of. Now, next week, I need to get final confirmation. But at this moment, I have a first confirmation that my guest for tea time will be here next week. My first ever guest that is a fellow Chinese martial artist. He lives in Switzerland. So I'm either going to have to do the show in the morning because there's an 8-hour time difference. Well, either way, I'm going to have to do the show in the morning. So I'm either going to have to go live at like 10 o'clock in the morning or record at 10 o'clock in the morning and show it at my normal time. I personally kind of want to go live at 10 o'clock in the morning because it's not as much fun without the chat. So I'm thinking live in the morning so that everyone can be here. My very first fellow Chinese martial artist. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I can see us all at a con someday and one of us just says crab style and bam, a whole bunch of folks doing crook. Please, if that's ever going to happen, someone needs to be ready with a camera. Because if that happens, I want to put it up on my channel. A whole room of people just doing crab style. That would be, yes. Will neither confirm nor deny that I was a part of the crab style dance. I couldn't remember everyone that was there. Okay, people are saying recorded. All right. It's just not as much fun without the chat there. Of course, you'll be there. Could do both. Go live, record it, then put it up at the recording at normal time. Yeah. That is a good idea. Chinese crab versus Japanese. Yeah, that was Japanese. Or at least the movie Japanese. Hate to miss anything, but me being awake at that hour is going to involve an alarm clock. You've missed shows before. It's all good. I'm not upset. Dawn was there. She admits it proudly. Yeah. Like I said, just keep an eye on the YouTube. I have plans. So, throughout the week, I'm going to be communicating with my guest because there is absolutely no chance that at 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning his time, he'll be able to sit for an hour, hour and a half, however long it takes. So 10:30, 11 o'clock next Saturday, I will have, hopefully, my very first fellow Chinese martial artist, someone that I have been a fan of for a while, but only recently started actually communicating with. It's been very enlightening. But that's next week. Week after that, Ruby. Going to answer that question at length. So be prepared. But for now, it is most assuredly time for me to go eat dinner. So thank you all for coming, for watching in the future. Thanks to the person who subscribed. That's what that notification was earlier. Whether you actually watched this or not, I appreciate you. And I will see you all next week. Again.